Thanks for listening to The Front Lounge with Congos. You can catch this live every Tuesday on our Twitch. That's twitch.tv/congosmusic. Also, make sure to join our Discord. That's congos.com/discord, Discord. A lot of fun people there. It's a great community. If you'd like to support the podcast, join our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Congos. You'll get access to all the archives of streams that we've done on Twitch, plus merch discounts and more. Hello, this is episode 52 of The Front Lounge with Congos. We have a special guest today. You call yourself a classically trained foodie. I like that a lot. This is David Douglas, who we came across on the internet, on the Instagram, and I really like the stuff you're doing. So say hi, and what's up?
Hello, season's greetings, everyone. How is everyone today?
Good.
Very full.
Very full.
Yeah, I brought in, to the 2 vegetarians and 1 meat eater, I brought in a bunch of barbecue, but the sides were capable for everyone, and we even got some.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that in. As a vegetarian or semi-vegetarian, because I tried some of the brisket and stuff today, like, you got to be ready in Texas to have people bring you some kind of meat.
Right.
It's like the joke in the big fat Greek wedding. I'm vegetarian. It's okay. He'll eat lamb.
But also when it's, unless you have your paddles with you, you're not going to bring it back. So
yeah,
I think it's
a good thing to eat before a podcast. It really slows down the whole body and lets you be a complete lethargic sloth.
Which honestly, and for the most part, is actually a good thing, because podcasts are notoriously coffee laced.
If you're
everyone's
lucky.
Speaking over each other, this high intensity thing. So maybe it's the best thing we could have done.
I specifically wanted to talk about that off air with you guys. I noticed that we talk way too fast because I go through and edit all the clips. And
So we have an espresso machine right there.
interrupting each other. But yeah, so I want to play a clip real quick.
Let's do it.
Because I think this will get us started on a good conversation. A couple episodes back, I guess it was maybe 15 episodes back, we had Daniel Leopold from the band Jane Leo, a great band here in Austin, came on. He's not from Austin originally, and he had this to say.
he's from Detroit.
Like, even driving around Austin, because Austin is such a tech-friendly city now, you see those delivery robots going by. And part of you's like, oh, cool.
Right.
I can get a shitty pizza from, wherever quickly. And then the other
That's all you can get in Austin, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the podcast. Is you were quoted as saying,
hit me.
Austin food is terrible. That's not a direct quote, but I'm approximating it,
That's
right?
all you need is an approximation, because that's all you get in Austin for food is an approximation of what food should be. That's it.
I love this.
Look, Austin, I'm not from Texas. Jane, if you want to cover your ears or do whatever you need to do, she's born and raised in Texas, and actually that's the only person in the room from Texas. So
Yeah.
don't take too much offense to it, but take offense to it and do something about it. Change. Talk to your people, because we need something to change here.
So that was our first. Daniel and I are thinking about starting a podcast where I don't want to shit on restaurants directly and name them, but it's just like a haters podcast.
As you should.
But to tell you the truth, when I came across your Instagram, there were all of a sudden a bunch of spots that I thought, I'm obviously just missing what's going on in Austin. So that's good to see. Like, it's one of those cities I feel like you do need to spend a little more. It's not New York. You got to spend a bit more time to find the good spots, whereas New York feels a little more like just pick a place. You're probably going to be fine. Or at least, I don't know how it is now. 4 or 5 years ago, it's like that.
High effort city if you're into food. You have to really put in some work, because it's not New York, it's not Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think we all like to pretend that it's like the next great American city. And it's like, can't we just be like a nice regional city and just enjoy the fact that you can have a lawn maybe? Like, do you want to be New York? If you want to be New York, go to New York. Like, if you want to be LA, go to LA. But I think it's great for me, because there's actually a market for me to like show off good places, because you can't just go any pizza place and have a good time. You'd be like, most pizza places in town, it's going to be like pretty garbage. So that means when you see a video and it's a good pizza place, it's like, great. That's I can go there and try it out.
I think part of the problem in Austin is there's a perception that's outrunning the reality of how fast you can keep up with it, because all the like USA Today and all the bullshit newspaper articles are like fastest growing city in America. So people now have, like you're saying, this expectation that it's the next New York or LA. And if you just abandon that preconception and see it for what it is. It is a great city. I think it will actually end up being one of the great cities in America. It's primed. Like, it's got a river. That's one of the most important things for a city, I think, is to have a big river.
Water access, yeah.
Yeah, water access. So I think we should get specific about, you said you went to a Greek spot, and you don't have to...
Well, sorry, could we just back up a little bit? Can we get a little backstory of how you got into what you're doing now, and explain who you are and what you do and all that for...
Yeah. Do you want the long or the short?
The long. Give us the long story.
I was in Brooklyn and I was eating a delicious bagel with my friend Eric, who I adore, who's a filmmaker in Brooklyn and someone I admire creatively. And I was just ranting about how good this bagel was and how there's not bagels like this in other parts of the country. And he's like, you should maybe do something with like this passion you have for food. Mm-hmm. It's like 2 months later, I started a blog in February of 2020. Wrote reviews, no one read them, and then started taking pictures, got into that, started putting the pictures on Instagram, and then I just quit my corporate job and did professional photography for like a year and a half, and I was just posting to try to get more work, really. I was like, okay, let me just post pictures of food, and if they see it and they think the picture's good, maybe they'll hire me to do their photos. And then this year I started doing videos with my face and some funny jokes in there, and then people seem to like that, and then ever since then, the video's been doing a lot better, and now sometimes I get invited on podcasts with musicians, and I get to
and
bring them barbecue.
You were saying that there was one particular video that kind of sent it into another level for you to see, like, oh, this is something that could turn into something.
Yeah, I think it would. I did a video on sugar pine, which is right off of 1E3, which is Japanese food, and they had this great spicy salmon onigiri. And one of the things I think that did well in the video is I didn't know how to pronounce onigiri. I think ona or oni is still a question I have, even though I've looked it up.
I don't speak Italian.
Bonjour. And so I think that's one of the things people had to have a conversation about the pronunciation of it, and maybe that boosted the engagement. Mm-hmm. I also think the lighting was good, and the food just looked good, and since then I just kept making that type of video, and here we are.
We have some great questions in the chat.
Oh, I love it.
Who's the guest? A foodie. I like food too. He's explaining his story now. We have so much in common. Yeah, I fucking love food too. Ask him if he likes pizza.
These dudes rule. Shout out Star Dude and Say My Name. Absolute legends in the chat.
Dominating the chat right now.
Yeah.
So how much of your time now is spent, like, are you scheduling going out to restaurants? Are you trying to keep up with a certain amount of output of videos per day or per week or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, if I had more time, I'd do a video a day, but realistic, it's like every other day at this point. I'm trying to put out a video, and I have a 9 to 5 that's in the hospitality industry, so I'm in restaurants a lot for that. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of works into it, and then after work, I might spend my lunch trying a place. The weekends, I'll try places. And then probably an hour and a half after work, I'll edit those videos and make
Are you getting recognized?
Believe it or not, yeah. Like, you don't think with 20,000 followers it wouldn't be, but some of the videos get enough views, and people I think it's like a distinct mustache also helps.
Also, by people who run restaurants, they probably are aware of you, and then...
Yeah, well, that too, yeah. But then also just people at, like, a coffee shop. I remember I was leaving, like, a Tumble 22, which is this, like, a fried chicken spot in Austin, and I was like... And it's still, like, shocking to me that anyone recognizes me, so, like... Because it's happened 2 months. I went from no one knowing me to some people occasionally knowing me. And some guy's like, I like your work, and I was just like... Thanks, man. Like, I was a little shocked, but then I'm like, great. It's been wild.
I mean, 20,000 followers is not a massive number in terms of like an Instagram or TikTok following, but if it's That's localized, if you've got 20,000 people that are in like the Austin area or the Texas area and they're seeing it, that's massive. I mean, that's a lot of people that will be that will know every establishment you're talking to. They're going to know a friend who owns that business or this or that.
It's also it's new 20,000 followers, because you see, like, we're even running into this problem with ours. Is like on Facebook, whatever our number is, 200 or something like that.
200,000 or 300,000.
Yeah, 170,000 of them are like non-active. Probably don't even.
I don't think they've been charged recently or something like that. They could just be sitting dormant.
Yeah, the bots.
Yeah, it's probably all Russians for you guys.
Right.
Big
no,
fans.
actually, we do have a large Russian following, and then Spotify cut off Russia, right? So we lost all of our streaming from Spotify in Russia.
Yeah.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. We got to do some ABBA covers to get in Putin's good side.
I know there's a complete aside, but someone on our Discord they're aware that we're doing all these covers, and someone said we should do ABBA Dancing Queen, which I thought but then that's one of those songs where there might be a completely left field way you could take it on. I
like the winner takes it all. I want to do like a hot dog ad for a hot dog. The winner takes it all, something like that.
Why do that one? Gimme, gimme, gimme is right there from ABBA. I mean,
I gotta admit, I don't know ABBA. The only song I've ever liked was "The Winner Takes It All," and I can't remember the other ones.
You've got limited time here.
Huge ABBA fan.
There's someone on our Discord that is like the biggest ABBA fan. They just
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, he is.
He's a massive. He hires cover bands and he watches ABBA cover bands.
That is funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I interrupted you, you were going to ask him specific, like getting into specifics.
Well,
about
let's just talk about food this entire podcast because that's what we would rather talk about than music.
Can you play a video though, so I have people have context?
Yeah, so that the audience has some context.
So this is David Douglas. This is about a barbecue spot here in Austin.
James Beard nominated spot is doing the most inventive barbecue in Austin, and it's not even close. KG Barbecue is located at Oddwood Brewing, and the James Beard nominated chef himself, KG, is doing Egyptian barbecue. We're gonna go fast. Hibiscus tea is great. The coffee drink, I can't remember what was in it, but it was kind of giving like an horchata latte vibe. This little salad was so refreshing and so much better than just getting boiled green beans. The potato salad, also excellent, so zesty, so creamy. Brisket bowl is what you order if you're by yourself. You get saffron rice, brisket, fried nuts, cranberries, all this extra goodness in one bite. You get all the flavors. These are the top three things that I would definitely get every time. The brisket, you get that, especially with the salad. You get all that fat, all that zest. It's perfection. I fiend for ribs, and you take these and you dip them in the pomegranate sauce, and it is legitimately one of the best ribs you can find in town. And something you can't find anywhere else in town is these lamb bacon ribs. You put chimichurri sauce on this, you eat it. It's like all of the flavor, all of the fat you could ever imagine. Guys, KG Barbecue right now is my favorite spot to get barbecue in town. I am very biased. I like the flavors of Egyptian. I'm Middle Eastern. But that being said, the desserts are good. All the sides are so much more interesting than what you get at normal barbecue places. Cannot recommend this enough.
Dude.
Go to KG Barbecue and enjoy it. This James.
Yeah. Fucking exactly. This is exactly what I've been saying about barbecue here. Like every time, like, what do you think of the barbecue? And I was like, well, the brisket was pretty good, I guess, and then the sides just tasted like someone dunked a potato in simple syrup. I don't know how like it's so sweet, and that's I mean, it could just be our palate. On our heritage is Greek, and we grew up with garlic and parsley and all that kind of shit, vinegar.
I feel like if I don't get something sour in my meal, I don't feel like I've eaten a proper meal. Like it's weird. I have to have something lemony, vinegary. Like I need acid, like a good amount of it in there. And I think that's definitely a Greek thing because there's just lemon on everything.
So I see the value of these videos because they're very concise, they're narrated, and you actually get a very quick visceral sense of what the place is like, as opposed to going on Yelp.
That seems I've not seen that as much on these types of videos. Is that a decision you decided to do?
Yeah, I think like with content, I think you can do like basically you have two types of reasons why someone's going to watch. It's going to be informational value and entertainment value. And I just try to do a little bit of both, right? So if you can get a sense of the place, I always try to put like some like shot of like the area, the vibes, and then if you can get some entertainment out of it, so keep watching it and get what the pricing is. If you have both of those, it's just like a little bit better. Now, if you're more entertaining, if you're a world-class comedian, great, you can just do entertainment value. Yeah. If you're like trying every spot and you have all the details and all the information and you have time, like a Eater Austin, right? They are pretty much pure informational value. They post almost every new restaurant that goes out there. So it's like, great, I got all the information. They're not really trying to entertain you, but they have so much informational value, they don't need to do that. Right. So I just try to go somewhere in between. And I think the pricing also, it's good to know because at the end of the day, if you're going to actually try this place, you want to know what the cost is. And Austin food prices go up a lot and it's expensive to live here. And so, and it also, people want to talk about it in the comments. They're like, this burrito costs how much money? This is deeply upsetting to me.
Speaking of comments and the price of food in Austin, you get some funny comments now that you say you're getting into the kind of the For You Explore and you're getting not necessarily specific fans of yours. You had one that was angry at you because like they thought you were Californian or something? What was the?
Yeah. I think like a lot, especially if I'm posting something that is not necessarily Texas food, right? They're like, this is deeply upsetting to me as a Texan. And if you get 100,000, 200,000 people watching a video, there's going to be 10 absolute losers on there, who just have.
That's an under guess.
Yeah. Well, you hope for that little amount of people, and they'll let you know just how deprived their life is. And so I think the only way to deal with that is, or my way of dealing with that, not the only way certainly, is irony and humor. So I like to tell people that I don't live in Texas at all, and I live in California, and I fly in every day on a private jet.
That's such an awesome take. Just to call out the trolls, basically.
Yeah.
I think what it is also is personality. A personality sells me on the food,
right?
More than, a good personality. Depending on the personality, they might give me all the information or entertainment. I'd be like that. Somehow the association and whatever it is, I don't trust this person's opinion.
Right.
So whatever they're telling me about this food, whether it's good or bad, I don't trust it.
Right.
But if you can trust a personality for whatever reason, if it's humor is really like one of the biggest things I think that makes people maybe not trustworthy. Like you'd lend them your.
I think part of it is you need to hear their actual opinion. Like you said, you're partial to these sides.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now you have a frame of reference about this person, where they're coming from, and you believe what they're saying. If it's just like some conglomeration that's giving you the details of, they zested this with, they put lemon zest on this cake. It's hard to fucking get anything out of that.
There was a comment on that one about that barbecue spot and said, "Who eats ribs like that?"
Yeah. No. So
with like 50, it was a very controversial.
It's so good, and at this point, I'm almost like, I want to do things that are a little upsetting,
right? Because
it helps. People want to talk about it, and it's like there was this great one. I was with a friend of mine, and we were getting cookies, and she ripped apart the cookie, and she's just a small person, and just her arms were shaking a little bit. And TikTok is like, she's being held captive, like for sure, she's in danger. And I was like, this is great, this is for sure helping. And I think
you do that. Do that as a take.
Yeah, often. It's like it feels a little cheesy to attempt to do the Starbucks, like we get your name wrong on purpose, so you post about it on social media. But I'm also just like not very careful with the things, because I think it's when you make a mistake, it just people want to talk about it, and that just helps the content get seen by more people. So yeah, and they're always gonna find something to be like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. So again, why try to control it? Just let them have fun with it. And
and there's a whole subgenre of like rage bait now. Yeah. That particularly that Chef Reactions account that we follow. I don't know if you know him. He's a New York chef, and he just reacts to videos.
Yeah, and kind of deadpan.
Yeah, 70% of the videos are like really great chefs, and then 30% or 20% are like legitimately bad, and then 10% is just people doing bad shit on purpose to get him to react to it.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he stopped kind of reacting to those, luckily, because they're just annoying.
Yeah,
they're just like,
once you catch on to.
There's a great creator on TikTok who, there's an account who makes I think it's Rage Baity is my guess. They make like ridiculous things where they take pasta and then put Coca-Cola in it and then marshmallows, and it's like doesn't make any sense at all. But there's another great creator who's like, she's just like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? What? Oh, we're putting cheese on it. Oh, we're going to grease up that stomach. And she's just leaning hard into it. And I saw, it's so meta with TikTok because people love to react to things on TikTok. Yeah. So then there was another food creator who started making a dish, and then it's like, she heard the ghost voice of what's that? And she's like, no, what have I done? So yeah, I mean, it's a fun culture of just reacting to things and being ridiculous.
I've noticed you don't do, you basically are a positive reviewer. You're obviously, it's consciously not putting places down because and I mean it's probably obvious, but can you explain what?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make a video about it soon because I think it's pretty interesting. But in my opinion, there's a couple of reasons to just not do negative stuff. The biggest reason is just hospitality is an incredibly difficult industry. Right. The punishment for hospitality isn't the reviews; it's that you work super hard and make almost no money. Right. Even if you're a successful restaurant, it's you could go to a place and you're like, wow, this is incredible. They're doing really well. They got all this buzz. And the main guy might be barely making $80,000. And which is fine. That's good money. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but for the amount of effort and the amount of success and acclaim that they're getting, the return, even that's that could be a really successful spot. Yeah. Most places, they're just barely paying their bills. perhaps on the verge of shutting down. So they get enough heat just being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is it's like, they could have an off day. So I might just be going in there and have a bad time. And then the last thing is I'm just not a critic. I just don't have any, as I say, I'm a classically trained foodie because that's a joke, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
like, I've never gone to culinary school. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just an enthusiast. And so why criticize when I haven't tried everything.
Can you cook?
I can cook okay, like I love food, and so I'll try really hard, and I think that helps a lot. So I'll get the nice ingredients. I'll get the olive oil that took a little bit longer for them to make, so it tastes a little bit better. I used to cook more, but I eat out so much now that it's like I buy like $20 worth of groceries every week, and it's like cool. I made one thing, and it was pretty basic, but I love cooking. I wish I did it more. I want to do some more stuff with cooking, and I think that type of content also has like a potential larger reach because it's not based in Austin, but I do love to cook.
Well, you mentioned you're Lebanese or half Lebanese.
Yeah.
So what's your parents cook?
My mom grew up in the Middle East. So my mom, I remember I asked my mom, I was filling out college applications, like, Mom, where are you born? She's like, Iraq. And I was like, yeah, but what town? She's like, Baghdad. I'm like, oh, I know that one from like the news. Like that one was in the news a lot in like the 2000s. And then so she grew up in Iraq, and then she moved to Kuwait, which is on the other side of the kind of little both oceans there. And then she came over here when she was in her 20s. Mm-hmm. So my mom's family is all Middle Eastern. She's the one of 8 who married American. And I look mostly like my dad, which is also another fun little rage bait, because I'll be like, your favorite Middle Eastern guy's back. And they're like, what? You're not Sam Stocklin? How is this possible?
Well, let's play that one here. This is... talking about a Lebanese spot here.
Yeah.
It took me years to find Middle Eastern food in Austin that could compare to my family, so I'm glad I have another spot to show y'all. This is Rayan and Ahmad's Lebanese cuisine, and you know it's going to be good when it's in a tow truck lot on the side of the highway. I mean, that's just immaculate. The hummus and baba ganoush were both excellent. You can tell they were fresh, made by hand that day, also served with the fresh pita, which is essential. I sent my mom a picture of the falafel, and she said, that's exactly how I make them. And you can tell they're well seasoned, and I even saw them give one to a delivery driver as a snack. That's just good people right there. I often look down on salad like it's my third problem child, but this one was so lemony and fresh that even I liked it. This rice is so fatty and flavorful, it'll blow your socks off like it's got a thing for feet. The reason this place is a must-try, though, is this chicken shawarma. This is the most moist shawarma I have ever had. And chicken, it's even harder to get moist. And if you want to do an elite Lebanese mood, you take the baba ganoush, you take the hummus, you put it on the fresh pita with the shawarma, you put that in your mouth, and you ascend. Go to this place if you ever want to try Middle Eastern food. It's close to downtown. The people are so nice. Don't miss it.
Nice.
Solid verbiage. I like it's like very efficient, and it's funny.
How long are you spending editing of these?
Usually about an hour and a half. I mean, I've got like pretty much a formula down for like what shots of what, I do a little food shot. I do a shot of me eating it. Yeah. A couple shots of the place.
Is that your line, blow your socks off, like it's got a thing for feet?
Do I say it every time? No. Did I come up with it myself? Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. No, these are all mostly original, frantic sayings.
Right. Yeah.
They're not. If you actually like break them down, it's like clearly I spent 4 minutes on it. But I mean, it's it's good enough to get a cheap laugh on Instagram.
You need a catch. You need one of those eventually is going to be like your hit song.
What was that phrase? I just saw some meme about like. Remember when Quentin Tarantino cast a chick to get her feet licked by some person, and then he fucking cast himself as the person licking
Quentin Tarantino? That's like a classic.
Yeah. He's well known around the world.
Yeah. But in some ways, you got to respect him for just being absolutely blatant about it. I mean, what was the Hollywood? It was some Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like a 30-second shot of
your feet on the windshield,
right in your face, and it's like, man, this guy is just not shameful at all. And yeah, Hollywood's got to be a rough.
I want to play one more because I can imagine this one. Whenever you talk about tacos, particularly out here in Austin, but I remember in LA.
Oh yeah.
Like you go on Yelp to any taco spot anywhere, like trucks anywhere. There's 10,000 reviews, and everyone says this isn't the place or this is the place. Like everyone's got opinions that are. It's one of the most strongly based opinion things: tacos and pizza. So that's what this you did. This is one of like 3 parts. Are you doing? I guess endless parts.
Oh, this is going to be like a 25-parter probably, but this is just the first one.
Today, we're kicking off what's sure to be a long series, Best Tacos in Austin, with the spot that has my favorite salsa in town. We're at Taqueria Los Regios, which sits in the legendary 7 taquerias in 1 Sunoco gas station, which sits right outside the FC Stadium. Now, the street tacos is the girl you date. Cute, pretty, small, happy to put it in your mouth. But La D, number 8 combo, that's the girl you marry. She got that extra junk in the trunk that has you going down to K Jewelers to get yourself a ring. The reason I'm at this taqueria and not the other 6 is the tacos Tlaquepaque. These things are bomb. You get them with the special red salsa. You pour that over top. You shove it in your mouth. You cry, little tears, kind of because it's hot, kind of because you're really happy, kind of because you haven't felt fulfillment like this in years. Point is, come to this Sunoco, get some tacos for yourself. Today we're...
That is something before we even moved to Austin, I remember we were doing a gig here and one of my wife's cousins took us out afterwards, and like the gas station taco spots here is like a thing.
Oh yeah.
Like in LA, it's trucks, usually not necessarily always in gas. They're like on the side of the streets, whereas here
stands.
It's almost all in gas stations that the good taco trucks are at. We've got a comment on the chat here, Star Dude, who's from Norway, I believe, so take his opinion with some salt.
Right.
Says
Pickling salt.
Pizza better than taco objectively.
The objective is the hard part of that one, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure what the objective is.
Okay, so gun to your head, pizza or tacos, what are you taking?
I'm taking tacos, honestly. I just eat way more tacos than pizza. The problem with pizza I can't eat it every day. I can eat tacos every day.
That's
and
true.
the amount of variety in tacos, at least, and it's also partially where I live. If I lived in Italy, I'm not going to get tacos. You know, I'm going to get pizza because there's 15,000 types of pizza. But here in Austin, there's like literally like 5 good pizza places and there's like 5,000 good taco places. So
right, yeah.
What's your top pizza place?
Top pizza places are Samataro Pizza, All Day Pizza, Dovetail, whatever, and then Bufalina for, and then everyone tells me to try another spot, which I'm at this point, I'm like, so many people have tried me to tell it, I'm like, I don't want to try. But
these are Neapolitan or they're New York?
Samataro and All Day are what I would call Brooklyn, which is New York, but it's a little bit fancier, a little bit more try hard with the toppings. And then Bufalina is Neapolitan. All Day is like bar style. Like that's great for, and people like had a tough time with that video because the type of pizza is for like 5 people to just smash down, and like it's like $20. It's like very reasonably priced, and people are like, this isn't as good as XYZ, and it's like, I don't think it's trying to be. It doesn't cost as much. It's trying to be something you just wolf down. I think a lot of people get different types of food misconstrued in terms of like, what are they attempting to do here?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to categorize.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're comparing apples to oranges, even though they're both fruit. It's like that. What was the Netflix show? Was it Ugly Delicious, where he does a whole episode on pizza?
Sounds like Ugly Delicious.
With David Chang.
Yeah.
Shout out David Chang.
And he goes, and it's a different art forms, basically. People that are trying to make Neapolitan and then people that are trying to make a New York slice. It's a totally 100%. Different art form. They can't even.
I'm trying to put them in. That's what I was explaining this to someone. I'm trying to get that in between thing, somewhere between a New York slice and a Neapolitan. I want the crust to puff up, but I want it to be a minimal amount of material.
You know who's doing that is Bianco, Chris Bianco.
Kind of.
No, at his LA place. Have you seen those ones that are coming out? He's basically making what look like New York slices, but not.
Right.
Like New York slices approach from his like Neapolitan background.
See, when you fold a New York slice, sticks out like that. Neapolitan, like that. So
you want halfway.
I want a semi-erect.
This is a great
semi-erect Neapolitan is what I want, with a crispy crust with minimal material.
I think you should get started on that right now.
I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's a spot for that in Austin, for sure.
The whole menu could just have innuendos.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, innuendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be the name of the pizza place.
Yeah.
Innuendo pizza. It sounds just Uendo. It sounds kind of vaguely European. And everyone asks, so where'd you come up with the name? Is that from Norway, where Stardude or whatever?
It was a double D entendre.
Yeah.
I don't trust food with 4 letters. Johnny can't do this, can he? Mock an entire nation. No, I was just mocking you.
Johnny can't do this, can he? What nation did we mock?
No, I think Norway.
Oh, Norway.
Our family's from Sweden. We can mock Norway.
I feel like that is double offensive to Norway.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like you've just doubled down.
The Norways and the Swedes are the same.
I think they're Finnish our family's Finnish people that are from Sweden.
That's my favorite conspiracy.
Or something
is that Finland doesn't exist.
We went there.
We did.
Oh, that boat we were on from Sweden to Estonia stopped.
How much are they paying you?
It was past the ice wall.
Yeah,
it was the flat Earth.
It was the boat from Estonia to where it stopped in Finland. Anyway, it was called the fuck boat. That was the local, or did we just call it that?
No, they called it that.
They called it that. Yeah, people called it the fuck boat because it was like a boat.
Explain.
A boat that went from these two cities, and they were because the taxes on alcohol were higher in like Estonia or in Sweden. On the boat, they were tax-free or much lower tax. So people would basically make a day trip out of just getting on these big cruise ships, partying it's a 24-hour ride or something like that across the Baltic Sea, and partying like no other. So we were going into it. We were like, we're going to be on the fuck boat. And
it was just a drunk sea captain doing karaoke.
Empty for some reason that night that we were on it. Empty, no one on.
Some reason,
yeah.
And it was just a bunch of really strange,
very strange,
not karaoke, like these shows that they put on.
It's like imagine like Vegas shows, but you only had like $45 budget to do everything.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
I mean, that was one of the weirder nights in my life. I mean, first of all, our bus driver who was meant to be sleeping because he's meant to be awake when he drives.
Classic.
He stayed up all night and he took over the DJ booth, and the DJ was sitting there like this the whole time, watching our bus driver DJ to no one in a nightclub,
in a bar, on the ship. Yeah,
he was shit-faced.
That bus driver, man, night of his life, right?
Oh
there.
yeah,
he's telling that story to his grandchildren.
He's a rollerblader named Bjorn, and then we met these Estonian fighters. And our videographer, who was completely oblivious and drunk, was like causing fights and stuff like that, and walking by people going "dead man walking," and these Estonian fighters were like, they were getting drunk, and this 23-year-old goes like, "I live for fighting. I fight. I love fight. Fight is my life." And I said, and he goes, "I got to fight tomorrow." And I go, "But you're drunk." And he goes, "It's okay. I got this. I'll do the sauna." And then these guys wanted to, not them, some other skinhead wanted to throw us off the boat into the Baltic Ocean in pitch black.
No, I remember that very specifically because I could see that you and our videographer were getting into it, and I was chaperoning. You were chaperoning him, but I was chaperoning the both of you.
Yeah.
And I was so fucking tired and drunk. I was like, I just want to go to bed. Will you guys go to your room so I can, as an older brother, stop worrying that you're going to get thrown off into the Baltic Sea? And the videographer is still like bumping into people at the bar, starting shit.
Gulis was entirely out of it, and it wasn't until the skinhead with head tattoos said he wanted to throw us into the Baltic Sea that
it's like, oh wait, this is serious.
This is serious.
Say my name, friends asking, is there a clip of this? There is some footage off that boat. Maybe we'll post some over on the Discord.
All right.
That's how you get the Instagram clips. You get the boat clips.
Right. Yeah.
Boat clips.
Unfortunately, it's very underwhelming.
Yeah.
You know,
I think underwhelming is if you know it's if like I have this dream of going to like a very remote casino in somewhere in like Kansas and just like getting like drunk on Long Island iced teas and like people watching and like gambling small amounts of money away, but like being really upset about losing. Like I think it's like fun when there's like old dirty carpets, you know. But again, if you thought it was going to be not that, then it's a disappointment.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, we opened up for Alice in Chains once, so we did like 4 or 5 shows with him. We played, where was it in Mississippi? Tuscaloosa,
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Somewhere like remote Mississippi. Not even, you know, what I don't know what the cities in Mississippi that everyone knows, Biloxi or
really
Hattiesburg or whatever. But it was a casino. Exactly what you're talking about.
Beautiful.
And we played that, and then they had the buffet. I would love to see your take on this thing because it was just miles and miles of the same
cheese,
and but the same like fried thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just everything looked the same, and it said chicken, mushrooms.
Right. Everything had the exact same hue because like the mushrooms, the chicken, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the chips,
all fried in the same oil.
All fried in the same batter, oil.
You'd be checking your white balance on your camera a lot. Like something's wrong with this. This all looks the same yellow.
You feel your veins getting greased up with every bite. You feel horrific after, and that just makes you want to.
Yeah.
You want to seep deeper into that. You want to get into a real dark headspace, and that helps. That helps.
You still eat a lot of it.
I didn't eat that.
Oh,
I mean, I am so indiscriminate, and I couldn't fucking do that one.
Yeah, I guess I'm not as indiscriminate.
My family used to drive from New Jersey to Pittsburgh, and we'd stop at this place called the Iron Skillet because they had an $8 buffet. And my dad was a very practical, frugal man, and he was always so excited, and me and my sisters were always horrified by the thought of going to the iron skillet. It was like a family joke for years, and now I appreciate it. I'm looking back. I cherish those.
I think it was a place like that. Our stage manager Mo, we stopped. Remember, it was like a truck stop, and they had a iron skillet sounding sort of buffet, and he ate all the sausage and biscuits, and then he looked like he needed to go to hospital. He got so swollen from the sodium or whatever was in it. He was just like walking around the bus like this, kind of looking at everyone with a swollen face. All right, let me ask this question. In terms of genre and foods, what would you say Austin's strong point is, and where's a weak point genre-wise, without getting specific about restaurants?
Yeah, strong genres would be barbecue,
right?
Obviously, tacos for sure, and then that might be it for like really truly strong. And then weak genres are pretty much anything vaguely, even vaguely ethnic. I mean, we just don't have many people who aren't white here. So I mean, like, and even like the Asian food, there's actually that Asian food is probably the third best cuisine because there's a big Asian population up north. But even that, it's like, if you want to get deep into any of those genres, it's harder to, right? You can, there's great Korean spots, there's great Japanese spots, but like if you want to go deep to Vietnamese, for example, like you got to go to Houston for that. And that's what I see with a lot of there you can find a good Middle Eastern restaurant, but there's only a few, and there's not a room for them to explore, right? Whereas like barbecue, now you can do barbecue fusion. Let's try it with this. You could try it with that. Let's try this different take, because there's so many different things that people are trying stuff. Most of the other genres outside of the three I mentioned, they don't have the room for that. So they're just doing the basic, what you hope for.
Is there a Szechuan? Have you ever been to a good Szechuan place?
Yeah. House of Three Gorges off of 183. That whole strip mall house, I did a video on Julie's Noodles, which is over there too. All right, that's great. And House of Three Gorges is over there. I'm going to make a video there. Great Szechuan food. They do a spicy wonton soup that's great. They do a dry stir-fried chicken, which is just like tiny pieces of thigh, super fried up with a ton of red chili peppers and Szechuan peppercorns, and it's very good, very, very good.
Yeah,
But even that, that's like a pretty casual spot. Like you can't find like high-end Szechuan necessarily. Like you can't find high-end a lot of things. Like you can't find any high-end Middle Eastern. You can find like, the more vague it gets, the more likely you can find it to be high-end. So like you can find like high-end Mediterranean-ish, and like they have like a hummus with some short rib on it, and it's like, it's fine, but just not that.
I mean, I'm not looking for high-end.
I just don't know when to go with the high-end places. It's like I can go to eat nice food. I don't mind it, but I just don't like what it feels like. There needs to be a special occasion. Like what? Why am I going to a nice place? I just don't. It's hard to go regularly for me, at least.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is interesting. I went to a Thai restaurant and sat down at a Thai restaurant, and I hadn't been to eat at a Thai restaurant. I feel like it's moved to like 90% takeout for Thai, Indian, a lot of Asian and South Asian food, and it was crazy. It was fairly busy in there, but the takeout operation they were running was just like rack after rack of those shelves. Right. It's crazy to see that shift happen. I think probably not just in Asian, like since the pandemic, it's like now the restaurant experience is more about the experience, because people kind of want to just stay at home. So you got to be offering some reason to go out to a restaurant.
I believe that the Thai government sponsors people to go. But they will fund your education in opening up a Thai restaurant, but then you have to kind of keep it pretty strict Thai stuff. And that's why there's so many Thai places with the same curries and all that kind of stuff, same exact versions of it. Because there's a place in Phoenix called Glaiban, probably the best Thai meal I've ever had in my life. Better than gelada, I think. And it was a tiny menu. It was like 15 things on the menu. They were all unique. They resembled the Thai stuff you'd had before, but they had their own take on everything. It was fucking unbelievable.
That sounds great.
Dripping Springs just got an Indian restaurant.
Oh, big up Dripping Springs.
That's like moving a big deal.
Where?
Right in, the street in Dripping Springs?
The classic.
On the 290 and 12?
No, just before the 12 going west. It's like next to the McDonald's. It's like in a strip mall-ish sort of thing. I think it's a small family, like a family-run place. They opened it up during the pandemic, and they were just doing like 2 or 3 items each day. Like be like Tuesday, you can get like butter chicken and like dal makhni or whatever. And I think they're slowly expanding as there's more interest. And it's been great to see, because as you drive out here to Dripping Springs, there's that Belterra shopping center, and then right opposite there, they've put in a Popeyes, Panda Express or something, P. Terry's, which is fine, whatever. It's like a local brand, but it's like the comments on Nextdoor, which are always good anyway on Nextdoor, just because it's such a shithole of social media. But like they're like, we do not need more chain shit out here. Like, please, someone open up something good, because I think basically the investors have miscalculated the demographic of Dripping Springs based on like 20-year-old demographic data, thinking like, oh, we need more chain restaurants. And like, actually the people that are moving here want some like proper restaurants. So it's cool. Long point short, nice to see a small family Indian restaurant opening up.
Will you play the coffee one just for my own interest?
Best coffee in Austin, part 2?
There's actually one out here.
One of my favorite coffee shops just opened a new location in East Austin, and y'all ought to know about it. Civil Goat Coffee is now rocking their 3rd location. This one's on Manor Road. It's got a huge outdoor area, also cute interior as always. Instead of just importing breakfast tacos from another spot, Civil Goat actually has a full breakfast menu. Look at this giant sandwich. It's got hot honey. I added bacon and avocado, and I smashed that thing in my face. Feeling too light on your feet for an entire breakfast sandwich? Well, get a cookie instead. It's probably the same amount of calories, but you can eat half of it and save half for later, so you feel skinny. Dip it into cappuccino. You won't regret it. And how is that cappuccino? Absolutely delicious. I mean, look at the art on it. Look at the cute little cup it comes in. Look how I sip on it gently so I don't spill it. You guys are going to want to come here, get yourself a good old time. And here's the real question. Do I go to the original location with the actual goat in it? Let me know. One of my favorite coffee shops just...
there's a comment on there. We need to learn how to pronounce Manor, don't we? You said it right, I thought.
No, every street in Austin has become...
a controversy.
Yeah, there's a road that's spelled Menchaca, and it's pronounced Man Shack. Right. So if you even attempt, I mean, just don't, again, it's one of those things that it's like, deep in your head when you said Manor, I was like, oh yeah, that is. But the idea that I was going to spend any time thinking about how to pronounce something correctly, absolutely not.
Right. Yeah.
And it just
where are your manners?
Yeah.
I've heard. I've heard Menchaca, Manchac, and Manchaca. I've heard there's 3 or 4 different versions.
There's some because there's some controversy, right?
It was like the spelling and then the this or that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the coffee place you mentioned in Dripping Springs? You said
well, it's not Dripping Springs quite exactly. It's more Bee Cave, but it's a little closer here. It's the same place actually. That's the original location, and that's the original Civil Goat where they had that goat there. It's a great spot. They just built that a little bit more of it, and it's not quite here, but it's closer than.
I don't like this place, but the coffee at Merritt at the Sea Home is very good. I think the machines always taste clean to me. Like that's like if the place, that's the one area I like immaculateness on the inside of a coffee machine.
Yeah. Do you know who does that well? The Scandinavians. There you go, Star.
There you go, Star.
Norwegians.
Danny, you had a question before, like, what is a sando?
Oh, yeah. What's a sando?
So this is very important, and this goes back deep into the kind of history of food. Sando is when I can't fit the word sandwich on the screen, and I just put an O at the end instead.
Right.
That's what that is.
But what are those like Japanese sandwich shops where they cut the crust off?
They do sell all those sandos actually. There's a Cho Sando is a pop-up.
Right.
Now, does that have an actual cultural meaning? No idea.
I think it's like an aesthetic thing. From what I can see from it, it's like, this is not really a sandwich. It's like a sando because it comes like a bloody architectural construction, and they like the way that they deliver them, and then they cut the crusts off and stuff like that. I don't know.
Sando on the Google means an undershirt. In the Philippines.
Look up sando Japanese sandwich. Yeah. So they have this style of sandwich that's basically like they cut off the crusts and they present it so that every part of it is kind of evenly distributed. It's a very
right.
This is like it seems to be like in Japan they have this culture of like using food as a presentation, and like all food is art, but they do have this thing where you can buy like $100 melons that were curated to be the sweetest possible melon, and they only picked one of every 100 of the melons in the field. And I think it's kind of an extension of that. Like you give a gift that is it's kind of overly presented or doesn't need to be this
or
nice.
they'll grow like a watermelon in a cube. A cube shaped watermelon.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably cross culture because I have a Chinese friend who sends me lots of gifts occasionally. She's back in LA, and so she'll send me and my wife. She sends not just me, but like the fruit. If she sends like an orange, it'll be wrapped perfectly wrapped and delicately. With like delicate ribbons and everything and bows and everything I get is just immaculate. Like immaculate, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a very traditional gift where it's like that's how you also even if show wealth too.
Yeah. Even if it's just nice. Like a bag of almonds.
Yeah. There's something to there's the Japanese culture. I forget what it's called at like the whiskey bar in LA, 7 Grand. There's one out here now, I think. Yeah. Where they do I forget the name of it, but it's like a Japanese presentation of like a bar experience where you go in, you got washing your hand, like a very formal experience. And like, I'm usually the opposite of that, but it is nice. It does, I hate to fucking use this word, but it like elevates the experience, a bit. Like you it puts your mind in a different state of appreciation sometimes when it's done properly. Otherwise it's just pretentious.
I think it's just attention. When someone pays attention to detail, it's it comes across because unless they're just purely imitating something, if they're just trying to imitate how another restaurant did it or somehow how another person presented it, then it's you can feel that. But if someone's really paying attention to how they're presenting a piece of food or a dish, then it shows that they've put that attention probably into everything. Probably not necessarily, but it at least shows that they have the capacity for attention. And I think that's like a good cook or a good restaurant is if they're not paying attention to something, it's just inevitably going to suck.
That's true.
I do like Ugly Delicious though for that reason. He's looking for the food that just tastes good and looks unappetizing.
But there's still the attention to some aspect of it.
Yeah, there's very few foods that fall into the category that just look absolutely unappetizing and taste good. Like I can't think of too many, because you maybe you associate it like mush with looking
Joey's
disgusting.
olive tapenade.
That's like
it
one
looks like
exception.
Elephant shit, but it tastes amazing.
But you put a little piece of green,
He made this olive. He came up with this olive tapenade. That's basically like pistachios, apples, basil, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, Kalamata olives, and it's very, very good. But I just made the green version of it, so I just use white balsamic and green olives, and that's just to make it look less like elephant shit.
Hey, visuals matter with food. Believe it or not.
Well, it's like even like Thai curries. You would think of it as mush or just a bunch of things thrown in there, but there's something about the actual colors of it, and it's not cooked to shit, so it's keeping color. So,
you guys have traveled quite a bit for your music. That's my understanding. Is there any places that stand out culinarily as like, man, I just want to go back there just for the sake of the food, not even anything else?
Peru,
Peru, for sure.
Colombia as well.
Colombia,
yeah. Peru was.
What were the staples there?
Some of it was really, really unique. And we always travel with a big crew. So when we were there, we were with the 4 of us plus 5.
Ceviche was,
I think, 5 crew members. Pretty much when you're on the road that much, a lot of everyone becomes a foodie, and because it's such a huge part of your day or year. And some of the stuff they did was like these native corn. Not the corn that you would get in America, like ancient grains, an ancient corn grain, which just had so much flavor. Like most of the stuff you eat in America or in the West, it's just sweet corn. It's been hybridized or bred for that. And so this one was much more starchy. And they had like maybe 6 or 7 different kinds of potatoes that they served. And then for the meat eaters,
that specific restaurant, I do remember being one of the best. Basically, of all tour ever. I mean, Lima is kind of
Lima
is known for that now.
Like I don't know what they were. Sauces, basically mole type sauces that they were.
What is it called? Agilo, or I don't even remember.
No, that was perfect.
The ceviche I had on the beach was just basic. There's an element of simplicity that a lot of countries understand. That I feel like moneyed cities that maybe don't have they haven't marinated in their own. They're not comfortable with who they are. Like Austin's like doesn't know what it is kind of yet, or at least in this new iteration of what it is. But they're just in South America. The amount of times you get a ceviche and it's just like onions and some cilantro, white fish, lemon. Fucking perfect though. There's nothing on it. Like Brazil, that white fish, barely grilled, put a lemon, and just served like that. Right. Basically, no attempt to like dress something up. But then it was perfect.
But at the same time, Lima now has become quite a well-known like foodie city, and it's very, I think, Japanese inspired. So there's a lot of like what you'd think of as South American, which is obviously like everything, because everything comes from South America, like tomatoes, peppers, chilies. Like it's originally from that part of the world, like horticulturally, I mean. But then with soy sauce. And Japanese and then East Asian influences are really good.
Well, Peru was, that's what I'm saying. They ran the spectrum of very unadulterated, simple food to highly elaborate food, and it was all good. It was just...
You said you're from Jersey, right?
Correct. You grew up in Jersey.
I would say that top three still is the East Coast. New York specifically, we've had a couple really good meals in New Jersey, but I mean, that's like, I think probably because of the cutthroatness of restaurants and real estate. There's, if you open a restaurant there, you've got to be fucking amazing, or you're out. Mm-hmm. And
the diversity is like really high in the Northeast, specifically the cities in the Northeast. And New York probably is the most, I would say, compared to like Boston. But New York and New Jersey, both just huge diversity. And then, like you said, it's just absolutely cutthroat in terms of if you're going to make it, you better be good. And if there's competition around every corner, then you got to bring your A game.
Yeah, I think that's what ties back into like why negative reviews are not really... They're not necessary, because people, it's food. Something you're putting in your body 3 times a day. Like, people don't have time or money to waste on bad food.
Also, if someone does like it,
let them like it.
Who cares?
Oh, he likes it.
Yeah. Oh, he likes it.
What would you say? What's on your, in anywhere, not just Austin? What's your top
just places to eat or meals or what?
Top meals.
I had some incredible. I'm Rome. I did the study abroad in Rome. one of those people, and had an incredible restaurant around the corner from me that was just like a family little spot, Osteria, and I brought people there every week, whoever was visiting or whoever was in town, big groups of other students, and so they'd always just treat you like Italians treat you, and just an incredible pasta they would make by hand there. And it was just amazing every time. You'd leave and they'd be like, have a limoncello shot, please. And they'd just keep pouring them until you basically ran out of there. Tel Aviv, I've also had some great meals there. There's this place called, I think, Man by the Sea. And they do 17 types of sides and salads with every entree. So you're just like, every bite you can just put in pickled this, or you can put in olives, or you can put in some hummus or baba ganoush, or this other thing you've never had. Oh, fried eggplant. Like, you just have like, and then as soon as you finish one of the sides, they bring out another one. Before you even say anything, they just whip it out, and you just feel like overwhelmed by the flavors.
Yeah. That's a very, I always talk about this phenomenon, which is that starters are always better than the meal. Or at least, in my experience. And that's a Greek.
Lot of times,
the Spanish obviously figured out by just making the thing tapas. It's like, and then meze in Greece and there's a bunch of people who have figured that out. And that attitude maybe could be adopted for a bit of barbecue so that, it's like,
one of the terrible things, not terrible, but stupid things or annoying things as a consumer about barbecues, they're like, buy a pound.
Right.
Have 4 pounds of it, and you're just like, what am I going to do with if you have to buy half a pound of something, and it's pretty like one note in the flavors? You're going to have to like rely on the sides, or you're just not going to get it that often. And I understand why. I'm not saying they need to change. You can't really change it because
it's hard
you're cutting a slice of brisket.
Rib.
You can't just do bite-sized portions of smoked meats necessarily, but it makes it hard to just get variety in there. I don't know what the point I was making, but there it is.
You mentioned Tel Aviv. It's a tough battle, and I don't want to start like a war, but where is the best Middle Eastern food you've had? Because as a Greek, it's like everyone argues where all of these things started, because it's all pretty similar. Like from Greek to Israeli food to Lebanese food, it's all very similar, and it's probably there's a long, like 6,000-year history of like who made the first falafel or who made the first spinach pie or whatever. You said Tel Aviv, that place is your Lebanese family angry that you didn't say?
No, I just didn't get a chance to go to Beirut because I couldn't convince any of my American friends they were like, that's scary. But no, it's all. I mean, it's all where you. I think in the Middle East, at least, it's like just wherever you grew up, whatever food you grew up with. So like, I have an aunt who makes hummus with cumin. I didn't grow up having cumin in the hummus, so I think it tastes bad. You know, just it's like I don't think there's. Once you're in there and you're like having food in the Middle East, you're going to have amazing food in any of those countries. There's just going to be a lot of slight variations. And like, if you grew up eating, I grew up eating kibbeh, right? So it's like this like, you take rice and onions and spices, meat and onions and spices, and you basically put this wheat dumpling thing over it. And they don't do that in every part of the Middle East, but that's like one of my favorite things to eat. Right. So I'm going to like that better than I like the traditional Egyptian dish that I've never had in my life. But if I grew up eating that, I would like that more. So,
the Lebanese, in my experience, the Lebanese tabbouleh is by far the best.
In America, the best Middle Eastern food I've had has been Lebanese owners of restaurants.
Right, yeah.
Well, there is that well, Lebanese will certainly tell you, and even other parts of the Middle East will tell you Lebanese has the best food. And I obviously am biased, but that's a common thing that's said there.
I remember that place in Portland. I went to go get it was in a bus or something like that. I went to go get a coffee, and I saw like the little Turkish, Greek, whatever thing, and I said, "Oh, you got Turkish coffee?" And actually, it's Egyptian.
Right? Like,
Oh, you mean you do it exactly the same way, but you call it Egyptian?
Right.
I'm curious. Just now on the topic of your account. And because, as you said, it's been in the last year, right? That it's really kind
of 2 months.
2 months that it started to grow. Okay.
Yeah.
So really recent. Do you see it? Where do you see it? Are you excited about that? The growth? Like, is there monetization possibilities in that? Are restaurants reaching out for reviews, that type of thing?
Yeah, for sure. I don't do too much. I've kind of strayed away from too much of the PR stuff side of things, mostly because it's not really paying you anything. It's just like you can get a free meal, and I'd just rather pay and go to places I like. And I'm only going to post places I actually enjoy. Otherwise, what's the point of watching my videos if I'm just posting anyone who invites me? So it's pretty disappointing when I go to a place that invited me and I don't post about it. So it's like, I tend not to. If someone invites me, I'll decide if I'm going to go or not. And then if I already want to go, I'll let them know, sure, I'm coming. But if I'm not going to go, I just don't bother. Having that conversation with them. Yeah, the opportunities will be interesting. I think right now I'm in a position where I don't have to take every brand deal that's pointed in my direction. So I'm pretty I had a restaurant come to me it was a chain of Tex-Mex restaurants. And they came to me with an idea, and I wasn't going to do the idea. I just wasn't interested. They were just like, come to the restaurant, try the food. We'll pay you a couple $100. And I was like, okay, great. I don't really want to I just don't think that's interesting, right? Like, this isn't a place that I'd normally necessarily shout out. So I pitched them a crazier idea that I actually would do. And they bought for it. And they were like, after a while, they were like down to do it. And then I'm going to do the ad for them. I'm going, actually next week, I'm going to Marfa. And I'm taking Chewy's Tex-Mex Jalapeno Ranch. And I'm putting it on everything I eat in this hipster town that's trying really hard to do.
That's an awesome idea.
I think it's just hilarious that I'm going to have a Yeti cooler full of ranch, and I'm just going to absolutely spoil all this really try hard hipster food. In
Tell
Marfa.
us a bit about Marfa. I know a little bit about it.
Are you going to have a fanny pack that you pull it out of at a restaurant?
I'm going to have. I'm going to have Mariettes on each hand, and I'm going to have them eat the food for me. No, Marfa is a town that I found out a little bit more about it recently. An artist moved there in the 90s to do just a workout there, basically. And then other artists were like, that was cool. It doesn't cost anything to live in the middle of West Texas. And you can do art out there. Cool. I'll do that too. And then it just kept happening. And then it became this kind of a place for people to go and try art, but then also food too. Like, people will go there, and it's not busy. There is tourism, but it's not quite enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to set up shop here forever. Right. You can do it, but it's not like it's going to be hard to win a Michelin star in Marfa. But if you want to go somewhere and try something new, it's a good place to do that. So that's kind of what it's become for art and food to a lesser degree. There's not an insane amount of food spots there, but for the size of town it is, there's quite a good
kind of a Joshua Tree vibe in Texas.
For sure. And Big Ben's about an hour away, which is
lots of
very
photo
similar.
Opportunities for Coachella-y type.
Right.
Prada put a store there, and it's just an empty Prada store. There's nothing in it, and it's that's the most classic photo op thing out there. And then there's a few other spots like that.
Good idea.
Okay, so speaking of Tex-Mex, where are your go-to spots for Tex-Mex here in Austin?
That was a great question. Someone else asked me that. Matt's El Rancho is like deep Tex-Mex. You just go there. It's huge, loud. You get the queso fundido, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna eat 5 margs and just get fucked up. Can I curse on this thing?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. And then I don't think it counts as Tex-Mex. I think it counts as like Mex-Mex, but Fonda San Miguel is incredible and gives some of the similar, like, I think Tex-Mex is partially summarized by like an exuberance of like, it's kind of like the text part of it, where it's kind of like the drinks are a little too big and a little too alcoholic, and everything is a little too greasy. And San Miguel doesn't quite do that, but like the drinks are still like served in like a satisfyingly large glass, and they have some a little less on the text, but very satisfying on the Mex.
I've been there.
Matt's El Rancho is like palate, like flavor wise, I didn't find very Tex-Mexy. Really? I mean, it was like, I don't know, I guess I don't know how it's defined, but I historically I always associated with Tex-Mex with like corn in the wrong places, kind of basically, you know?
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I think like that is what a Tex-Mex place outside of Texas is.
Okay. Because Matt's El Rancho, I like,
Chuy's is
and it was
pretty
like, fun,
like,
you know,
Chuy's middle of the road, like
Chuy's is another.
representation
That is like absolute like summary of Tex-Mex.
That's different from the chain
It's
of
kind of like
Chuy's in
Macayo's
Arizona,
in Arizona.
yeah,
Ish, but
Matt's
a
El
little
Rancho
bit
is like
better.
you can picture like, you know, Steve Martin swinging from a chandelier in Three Amigos kind of thing.
That
like,
Fonda San Miguel, I've been there. I liked it. It kind of reminded me actually of some places we went in Mexico City.
The
I think it's
aesthetic
got
in there is
some
very nice.
real authentic aspects to it that were good.
For sure.
All right, let's talk a little bit about music, and we'll wrap up this episode, and we can eat a little more food.
is that Turquoise Kitchen?
Yeah, yeah.
She's the best.
In terms of like presentation of food,
Yeah.
she's.
Have you seen this person?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna switch the music off so we don't get pulled.
I like how she puts her outfit on too. You never see her face, but it's always.
But she makes everything from scratch, like scratch.
Yeah. That's what you got to do these days.
Yeah, it's not. Otherwise, it's not impressive.
Oh, she's making phyllo from scratch. Holy shit!
Wow, that is insane. That I actually haven't seen before.
I just don't know how she's so good at so many things. She's obviously
She must at this
trained.
point. She must have a team
Look at
because
that.
it's like such a giant account.
God damn. Yeah, every single thing she does just looks amazing to me. There's also that guy Matteo, something, the pasta maker. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that really? Is that super French looking pastry chef? I don't think he's even French, but there's just that one pastry chef who's like, he'll lay out like 100 lemons and then he's like perfectly peeling all of them, and by the end of it he's got like a 14 layer lemon curd.
What is that guy's?
monstrosity.
I know who you're doing.
Yeah, it's
got
like
a
the
huge,
most
like a
beautifully lit. Like he's got that perfect hair, and he's talking to the girls you wish you talked. Oh, God, I'm jealous.
I remember, you know, with my ex-girlfriend, and she was like, well, like, what guys do you think are attractive? I'm like, I'm not really attracted to guys, but there's like, this is the guy I want to be. And it was that guy.
Yeah,
you know?
we all want to be him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, so we gave you a bit of homework. I don't even know if you guys did your homework this week to talk about some music, because we do occasionally talk about music here. I'll go first. So quick bit of news. You saw Willie Nelson is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he just had his 90th birthday, which begs the question, like, how the fuck is he only getting it now? Like, it's just weird sometimes.
Because what is rock and roll?
No, because the rock and roll, it hasn't been rock
If
and
the
roll.
Beastie Boys are in there, yeah. You
it's
put anyone in there.
Just weird, like the timing on that. Either way, whatever. Yeah. Legend. So the song I picked, Missy Elliott's also getting inducted in, and the classic "Get Your Freak On." And I was doing this on a track I was working on today. It's like an underrated technique in the studio is beatboxing your idea of how you think the drums should sound. To just get an idea until you get the real drums, because most of the time, like, well, especially for me, I can't play the drums, but I can kind of beatbox them. So I've been doing that. And then the Missy Elliott connection is that Timbaland does that a lot. Like, he'll start his entire track just going, he walks into the vocal booth, beatboxes a lot of the parts, and then they come back, overdub or add the real drums, because you can get a feel and a kind of sound with that. So that was my track that I like, the classic one that. And then for lyrics, I picked Hits from the Bong, Cypress Hill, because
Dude, powerful stuff.
I grew up like Cypress Hill is such a influence on me. I don't think it comes across in the music we write or anything, but like it was such an important group for me. And I feel like weed music has become so corny now. Like it's played out, and they were one of the early ones doing it. So here's the lyrics from Hits from the Bong. Pick it, pack it, fire it up, come along and take a hit from the bong. Put the blunt down just for a second. Don't get me wrong, it's not a new method. Inhale, exhale, just got an ounce in the mail. I like a blunt or a big fat cone, but my double barrel bong is getting me stoned. Home skillet, there's water inside it, don't spill it. It smells like shit on the carpet, still it goes down smooth when I get a clean hit of the skunky, funky, smelly green shit. Sing my song, puff all night long as I take hits from the bong. And it's like, it's kind of like the corniest, like, 14-year-old kid weed head thing, but early they just rap. Fucking nailed weed hip hop so perfectly.
No one else was really doing it back then, like where they were really committing to being the weed band. Yeah. Not that they were only that, but
they gave step-by-step instructions right there. That's how you know they were the first ones, because they were just like, let's just describe what it's straight up.
All right, David, what do you got for us on the music front?
So the homework I thought I got was like a lyric that meant something to me, and then just a song I've liked. It didn't have to be classic necessarily, I don't think. We'll do lyric first. I did Paradise by John Prine, which has a line that's like, Daddy, take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lays, and then it goes... well, I'm sorry, my son, you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. And it's about this idea that, commercialist stuff comes in and removes it what it is. But it also was a song that in this summer camp I went to and worked at, which I was like, it was like my favorite place. It was my paradise. And I think often when I'm like doing something and I'm like, what does this mean to me? I'm like, why am I not just like a full-time camp counselor? It doesn't pay well, but you like live there and you're just in the woods, like fixing fence posts and like taking kids to the lake, and like that was paradise. Why did I leave that? And it's like the same thing, because there's these like commercial desires I have where I'm like, I want to have this job and I want to have this house and I want to make this money. So I'm the Peabody's coal train. I took the paradise away from myself, and I just think about that a lot. Where I'm like, how much of our lives is just like us taking away our own happiness because we're just like, I want the fucking Porsche 911 so bad.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point. Everyone talks about wanting that paradise life that you're talking about, and very few people actually go take it, because it's very easy to go do that. If like your idea of paradise is a nature-based life, pretty much anyone can do it. Like you don't need money, you don't need a lot of resources to do that. And we've got, do you remember that my friend Jeff, we met up in Alaska?
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes that's what he wanted, and he did it. Right. He moved to Moab. He takes people out on rafting trips, camps half the year, lives in an apartment the other half of the year, and then goes up to Alaska, takes people up to the Arctic Circle. Like he's doing it. It can be done.
Have you seen that clip, the clip of Osho talking about how he's the rich man's guru? And he goes, I'm the rich man's guru because I need people to have I need them to realize that they have everything except themselves. Yeah. And they need to get bored. He says, I have 90 Rolls Royces. I'm bored with Rolls Royces, and he says, well, our goal is 365 Rolls Royces. And this is just to prove how bored you can be with Rolls Royces.
One for every day of the year. But yeah, most things, if you really just want to do it, you can do it. Like if your dream was just to play music and that was it, just to play music, you can do that. Right, you might not be making money though, and you might not get these, and your ego might not be getting hit with fans and that sort of thing.
Everyone's divided. They have dual thought. Brazos, my friend, he was just talking about how he's trying to, he wants a better balance. He's a firefighter, but he's in Austin and he's sick of civilization or something like that. I don't know what he's talking about. And I was like, are you being sincere right now, or are you just imagining that you would like life without your running, are you take everything everyone takes everything for granted. They want to be close to nature, but also be 5 minutes away from this and have a Postmates. Like you can't have everyone's just a walking contradiction, and they identify with the latest feeling.
Well, you said the balance idea, because even that's actually possible. You could have it all. Yeah, you could have nature. You could go to nice restaurants. I'm not saying everybody could do that, but like
you can't have it all. And you can have it all.
Yeah.
Having it all means not
Every
having it
white
all.
guy with a podcast. I mean, like, it could be everything, but it also could be nothing, man.
The Aubrey Marcus vibe.
I have a farm in Wimberley, and
Yeah.
you're welcome anytime to come out and fix some fence posts.
Dude, I love farms. I shout out my friend Hannah. Also, we got to shout out the barbecue we ate from Crimson Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Hannah Gongola. She has a beautiful farm in Page, Texas. And I just drive out there, and I'm just like so happy to just like look at cows and like eat. She makes this like fresh bread, and it's just like, oh my God, this is so good. And she's one person that's just doing it. She's like, I want a farm. And then she just has a farm, and it's not a huge farm. She's not like the biggest corn producer in Texas or anything, but she's doing exactly what she wants to do. And I think that's really cool. So yeah, you can have something for sure.
Yeah.
That's yours.
So that the lyric, great
And then
choice on that, and then your song.
the song recently, we talked about the electronic club I found in Austin that I liked, which I'm going to gatekeep, but I found this guy who, I don't know what the type genre of electronic music is. His name is Dr. Gabba, and he plays music that can be described as like, kind of sounds like the intro song in like the title screen of a video game, but also sounds like you're on the outside of a club, like listening to just like the bass coming through, and like it feels like you could close your eyes and like just get lost in
Dr.
it.
Gabba, you said?
Dr. Gabba, and he's just not very big, so I thought he's a good shout out. But that's my new recent addiction, is just listening to this like heavy beat, just like it's very good.
EDM genres go so deep and far. It's like you got to be treading in treacherous waters if you describe some kind of
That's why I met this guy
it.
from Berlin who makes like, underground electronic music, and I said we should start a coordinate system for EDM categories where it's basically longitude, latitude, and the BPM, and there's nothing else. It's not like deep subtropical house plus this, that's like, there's so many flavors that they're adding to everything.
Oh, so you're saying like plot it out on a Cartesian plane, like tempo, harmony, minor, major, like.
Right. Have you heard that longitude 37 degrees, 40 latitude, this 126 BPM?
That's how AI is going to be describing music in the future. Do you guys pick any songs?
I didn't.
I got one.
I don't.
All right, what have I got here? Simple Twist of Fate, Bob Dylan from Blood on the Tracks. Somehow I had never heard this song until recently, and the last line, or one of the last lines, is, "She was born in spring, but I was born too late. Blame it on a simple twist of fate." He's got a very simple way of capturing that sense of happenstance and time, and like it reminds me of Mushkil Gusha, the Sufi story, about like weaving lines, and where the pool balls lay on a break.
Danny's into pool this week. All right, why don't we wrap it up here? David, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
We're
guys.
going to be hitting you up for recommendations.
Please do.
Because we trust your personality and your mustache.
God bless.
From your profile. And thanks again for the barbecue from Crimson Creek, which is up here on 290 at Deep Eddy Distillery. I haven't been there yet. I need to go check that out.
Worth the drive. It's only 5.
So we'll post this on Monday to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places, and the YouTube. And then we'll be back the next week, whatever week that is, May 12th, 13th, 14th, or whatever. If you haven't joined the Discord, please go join our Discord. I'll post the link in the chat right now. And then we have our version of Surfing USA. It just came out Friday. Go check that out. It's a really weird, I've been calling it a sad boy version of Surfing USA, which it's like surfing if there's cloudy weather. That's what it sounds like to me.
Listening to it, I've got some good ideas now for at least just a little teaser video, not for necessarily a music or a lyric video, but just for my own Instagram. I think I've got some funny ideas.
Sad boy surf music. Also, shameless plug, the David Douglas on Instagram.
Right. Oh yeah.
We watched the videos. I just didn't know if we got the tag in there.
We'll definitely tag it with all the links and all that.
When we post any clips,
Beautiful.
it'll be all tagged.
Yeah, we got to get the clips going here. I had some lukewarm takes. We got to make sure we get those online.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.
Thanks so much, y'all.